Welcome to a bonus episode of Popped, where we look back at Season 2 and look forward to Season 3. First, we want to thank everyone who stayed up with us in the off-season. We've uploaded quite a bit of content on our YouTube channel, and I will continue to do so. We're moving to a Vodcast format. You heard me right, Vodcast, which is a podcast using video, if you aren't familiar with the term. And we will also be doing the regular audio podcast. I decided to do this to cut down on the inordinate amount of time I spent editing. So please go to our YouTube page and subscribe, comment, and like our videos. The engagement gets us noticed, and the more likes and subscribers we have, the better the likelihood that we'll be landing really good guests on the show and we'll get accepted into big conventions and things like that. We're going to be doing some really cool giveaways this year, which are slated for the conventions. But if we don't get into the conventions, we'll be doing them on like Facebook Live or something and involving all of you. And we got some really cool prizes in store. So keep your eyes peeled. We're going to have a really cool contest that you can take part in. So let's see. Let's talk about Season 2. Why don't we talk about Season 2? Do you guys have any recollections that kind of stand out to you? I mean, we covered a lot of really great material. The list was Hook, Captain America, there's a bonus episode of our bottom 5 films, The Princess Bride, Somewhere in Time, The Mandalorian, Joe versus the Volcano, our top 5 vampire films, Stargate, SG-1, and Office Space. Who wants to take it?
I suppose I can start. One of my favorite highlights from Season 2 is remembering the episodes that I wasn't sick. I felt like I was sick a lot with colds and flus, and I was sad to have to miss several episodes. But more seriously, I really enjoyed, and I have completely forgotten, Sherlock Holmes was Season 1.
That was Season 1.
All right. Well, then we will move on to the other thing that I had thought of. My absolute favorite part of Season 2, though, was our bottom 5 episode. I absolutely loved getting the chance to say various versions of, you can put a dress on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Yeah. Bottom 5 was a lot of fun, especially because it really gave us an opportunity to do something we don't do a lot on this show, which is pan something. Normally, if we're covering a film, it's because we already like it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of that this season. This season's going to be probably a lot of 5 pops for me. I'm just going to get that out of the way now because there's so many good episodes coming up. But yeah, it was cool to be able to sit there and just talk about things that we don't like. Yeah. And disappoint each other.
I think the bottom, yes, the bottom 5 kind of broke my brain a little bit because Ben made me laugh so hard. He hates a movie with utter disdain that I absolutely adore, which was kind of heartbreaking. But the way that he described it.
Don't we both love that film?
Fantastic.
Yeah, we both love
Exorcist?
that film. Oh, no.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Gattaca.
Oh, well, that too. Yes. And then you hate Hardware. Yeah, we learned a lot about each other that episode. Deep, dark secrets.
Gattaca, as Ben described, the slog through nothingness. Yes, Ben, I remember those words.
I do too.
Yeah, see, we had a lot of fun with that episode. So if you haven't seen, or actually, if you haven't listened to our bottom 5 episodes, they're on our website, poppodcast.com. Go to the episode section, give it a listen. It's pretty funny. Yeah, anyway, let's talk about other episodes. Because we had some good ones. We started with Hook. We started the season off with Hook, which was a lot of fun. And we brought on 2 guests for our sound table, which were Patrick and David. And David runs his own podcast. I don't remember the name off the top of my head right now. And Patrick is a musician who raps and goes under the name DJ Really Real. And he's got a lot of stuff up online you can listen to. But those guys were almost mirroring each other and building off of what each other said. It was pretty cool. They were both huge fans of the movie Hook. What do you guys recall from that? Anything?
Yeah, that was a great episode. I definitely felt like the odd man out or the odd woman out, because I really wasn't a huge fan of that film compared to the two of you and our two guests. So I kind of did a lot of smiling and nodding like, oh, that's great. But it was just not my cup of tea in the way that The Exorcist was not Ben's cup of tea. Yeah.
Just keep reminding him of that.
Although the Tinkerbell innuendos in that episode were rich. It was a rich tapestry of Tink.
Yeah.
Definitely a new take on Tink.
Indeed. Let's see. Then we had another thing we had a sound table guest for was The Mandalorian. We had Robin, Victor, and Matt. I have to tell you, I really, really enjoyed talking about The Mandalorian. I know there are a lot of critics. Star Wars, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
That's right.
And if you go online, it is a minefield of just nasty comments about this and that. It's, I hate to use the word toxic, but I can't think of any other word to describe the Star Wars fan base. It, half of it's praise, half of it is just absolute derision, and the language is so salty.
Kind of like the Raider Nation.
Maybe so. But it's disheartening because I think we all felt that The Mandalorian was an exceptional product, and I still feel that way. Season 3 has had its pacing issues, and it's definitely diverted here and there, but it's a wonderful show. So I just say ignore all the idiots online and enjoy it anyway.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
like what you like. It's okay.
We had Robin, Victor, and Matt on for that show. Robin and Victor, I know from both Renaissance Fair, the Dickens Fair, and then you knew Matt, right? How did you know Matt?
I know Matt and Robin both from gaming, two different gaming groups.
Gotcha. So it was fun having them on, and we got some really good opinions from them. I really do enjoy the sound table sessions because it takes a lot of pressure off of us. Put them on the spot. Hey, listeners, you want to be on our sound table? You could be on the spot too.
But honestly, it is also nice to hear opinions other than just ours.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, okay.
Let's see, the last one.
Great. They had some really great things to say.
Yeah, they did.
I still remember, I believe it was Victor who described, oh my God, I just had the biggest brain fart of my life. Gus from Breaking Bad. Oh God, what character did he play? Why is my brain breaking?
Because it's bad.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
But he described his performance as delicious. And I for some reason, I still think about that statement. Even to this day, I'll just be doing random stuff. And I was like, oh, that was such a great description. So it is nice to hear from random people. They were cool people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we had, let's see, The Princess Bride. We had Dawood back on our show. He was on season 1 for, what was he on for in season 1? Ghostbusters. Right? Yeah, because he was in love. Right. We learned about his unrequited love for Annie Potts.
Oh, that's right.
And then he came back in season 2 for The Princess Bride. And we had Tanya's friend Vaughn on. That sounds weird. Vaughn on. Anyway, Princess Bride was a great episode. I really, really wanted to get one of the cast members from Princess Bride on. But I think at that point, the pandemic was pretty much getting towards its end, and getting celebrities on the show was getting much more difficult because they all started to work again. So we'll try. We're going to try the season. No guarantees. But anyway, what do you guys remember from Dawood and Vaughn?
Dawood was a laugh riot. That guy is so unbelievably hilarious. I just love him to death. And we should totally have him back on this season. He is great.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yep.
Ben, we need to make that happen.
I'll reach out.
Cool. So aside from the sound table, we had some celebrity guests on this last season. We didn't have as many as the first season, but who's counting? It's not a big deal. It was quality, though. We had quality guests on, and I was very happy, and we want to thank the Lumina Productions for providing these guests, because that it was very nice of them to look out for us. We did an episode on Stargate SG-1 because it was the 25th anniversary, and we got two actors, not one, but two actors from Stargate SG-1 on there. The first one was Colin Cunningham, who played Major Paul Davis, and I gotta say, this guy is super down to earth. He has no pretensions at all. In fact, I still message back and forth with him through email. He's not much. He doesn't do social media, as we learned in the actual interview.
Yeah.
But he's working. He's working on solo projects, and he's just a guy who's full of energy. And he wanted to let us all know he's not on drugs. He's just super excited and happy once he got on there with us. What do you guys recall about Colin?
I remember simply the same thing. Very high energy in that interview, and he was just really easy to talk with, and it was great to hear from him. Like you said, it just seems like a down-to-earth regular person that you might meet on the street.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he kept saying things like, "Hey, if I'm in your neighborhood, let's hang out sometime." Who says that to you? What celebrity tells you they want to hang out with you? Pretty cool.
Indeed. Yeah, he was very real, just a genuine person, which was really nice and refreshing, and just a really kind human and very interesting. He has a really interesting brain. Yes.
I'll let him know you said that. Tanya said you have an interesting brain.
That's a high compliment.
I don't know. Maybe from Tanya, that's a high compliment. All right, Colin, if you're watching this, you have an interesting brain.
Interesting brain.
I'm just gonna put some sound effects in there, I swear. All right. Another SG-1 guest we had on was Suanne Braun, who played Hathor, one of the most remembered guest stars on the show. And she did not disappoint. I mean, to her credit, she already had been doing a video or a vodcast for quite some time, where she was having Stargate members come on her show, and she was interviewing and talking to them. So for her to slip onto our show, I don't feel like it was a huge transition for her, and it was so natural, and she was so engaging and able to talk just about any subject we could come up with. What do you guys remember with Suanne?
That woman is a firecracker. She was just awesome. Like someone that if I drank, I would want to sit down and have a beer with her. Just really, really cool people who has done a lot of really interesting things. Very smart, very gracious. Yes.
Yeah, just another person who was really great, really good to hang out and talk with, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, she had some really good quality moments that I remember, where we had asked her about, things that she remembered on the set, and she was talking about the costume and how it basically forced her to be upright most of the time because of the boning inside it.
Oh,
and
right.
To describe it, she pulled up a action figure of herself and was pointing at the spots on the dress. And I mean, that was priceless. That was a priceless moment. And thank you, Suanne. You were awesome. I would love to have her back on. Actually, I'd love to have most of our guests back on if they want to come back on. We'll just throw that out there.
Indeed.
Yeah. So if you are listening to our show, if you've listened to our show or watched us on YouTube and you'd like to join us, let us know. You can email all three of us. I'm Daniel at poppodcast.com. There's Ben at poppodcast.com. And now, new and improved, Tanya at poppodcast.com. You can email any of us and we will work it into the show. We'd love to have you on. With that, let's see. Do we have anything else we want to talk? Let's talk about some of the other shows very briefly so we can move on, because we have another episode to record today. Let's break some of the movie magic here. We're going to be recording Blade Runner about half an hour after we're done with this. So yeah, look forward to that. You'll have this episode, which it's this episode, and we'll have Blade Runner. Obviously, we put a lot more work into Blade Runner. You'll see that when we get to there. Let's see. We had Captain America, which was a lot of fun. We learned that Tanya's favorite moment in that film was "Hail Hydra."
That's right.
Let's see.
That's right. I made up a cheer and everything for it.
You did.
And they just need like black shiny pom-poms in their business.
Yeah, here was another film where I really was hoping to get somebody on, like Neil McDonough or Chris Evans, or I didn't think Chris Evans was going to come on, but I thought maybe Neil McDonough, but my messages went unresponded to. So there you go. And part of that is that really I should be dealing with agents. I was messaging the stars themselves directly, which is kind of a faux pas, but I was new. Give me a break. What can I do? It was the pandemic. I needed to just reach out. Yeah. So let's talk about Somewhere in Time. Here was a film that neither of you guys had seen, and I was introducing you to, which it actually went really well. What do you guys recall from that?
I remember being pleasantly surprised. I figured I was going to enjoy it because our tastes are similar enough that I figure if you recommend something to me, I'm not going to hate it. But I really got into it and enjoyed it even much more than I thought I was going to. Now, of course, Christopher Reeve, I already truly enjoyed. But I only really knew him as Superman and the goofy character from a movie called Noises Off. And he was a new and different kind of character, a romantic lead, basically. And I really took to it. It was a very pleasant surprise.
The film's not about a big red ball.
It is all about a big red ball.
That was one of my favorite comments you made, because I had said, I'm surprised you love it. It's got time travel. He's like, it's not a time travel film. There's also a big red ball in the film. It's not about a big red ball. Probably one of the classic Ben comments so far on the series. Tanya, what were your recollections from Somewhere in Time?
Well, I loved interviewing Jo Addy. She was just such a wealth of information, and she really added so much context to the film that I never really had considered. So she was just a joy to talk to, and she really was generous with all of her knowledge. That was great. Right. Very nice lady.
Yeah, well, I'm still in contact with Jo. In fact, I sent them a couple of shirts of Popped, one for her husband, one for her, and apparently we need to exchange her shirt. She got we thought it was going to be a nice small shirt. Turned out that it's too small, and I got to figure out how to do that. But Joe was absolutely wonderful, and she's a font of knowledge when it comes to Somewhere in Time, having actually been in the film as an extra and knowing um, Chris and Jane personally really helped with her being able to tell us some stories and give us some insight into not only the filming but the whole process and how they've gone on year after year and created an event that apparently thousands of people attend. I looked into attending it this year, actually. I wanted to take Anita and go and join it, but it looks like it's an event that I'm actually going to have to save for because a little out of my price range. But yeah, although, we could always find ways to fund things. But yeah, if you have the opportunity to go do that, it's a little pricey, but it looks like a once in a lifetime kind of event that is worth attending. And Jane Seymour was at the last one. So if you want, we'll put a link down in the bottom down here where you can go visit the somewhereintime.tv website. And I believe if you watch if you watch the interview with Joaddy, she talks about how you can take part in those Somewhere in Time weekends, and they're absolutely wonderful. You dress in period costume and you can interact and walk around in the actual set where they film Somewhere in Time on Mackinac Island. And it's Mackinac, not Mackinac. Just putting that out there.
Pro tip.
Appreciate it.
Let's see, what else did we have? We had Joe versus the Volcano, which was a fun episode. What do you guys remember from Joe versus Volcano?
I don't remember hardly
That
anything.
was my favorite episode of the whole season. Am I lagging?
Maybe.
Oh, not much.
A little bit. Sorry, guys. Okay. But that was my favorite episode of the entire season. Just because all of our mindsets, we were completely, all three of us, wackadoo that day. We all had our own little brain clouds happening.
Yeah.
And just, it was a very meta moment. And I liked seeing us all very discombobulated, discussing a discombobulating film. It was kind of perfect. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. But hey, if it works for you. And that's how professional we are, folks. Yeah, discombobulated is our good side. And on that note, we had Stargate SG-1 and Office Space. We already talked about Stargate SG-1. Now, Office Space, we had on our guests Rachel and Ryan from the Yum Yum podcast, and they are always a treat. We've been on their show, which is Yum Yum 5, where we reviewed a Babylon 5 episode, and we are going to be on their show again. In fact, we have a busy weekend. Right now, we're recording this episode. After we finish this episode, we're taking a little break, and then we come back in and record the Blade Runner episode, which is our first official episode of the season. And tomorrow, Tanya and I are getting back on to do another episode of Babylon 5 from season 4. Oh, there we go. It's called The Exercise of Vital Powers. And I'll give you the plot synopsis. Please go over and watch or listen to us on Yum Yum. They also have a YouTube channel as well, which we'd like to promote and tell you to go over and subscribe and like. As podcast, Vodcast, we support each other and like to, let audiences know that you can find these things and listen to them, because every like, every subscribe helps. So like and subscribe. See this thing right here? This little, yeah, it's right there. I haven't put it in yet, Ben. I see you looking, but I'll edit it in later.
Okay.
The Exercise of Vital Powers. I'm going to read the plot synopsis. We're going to change the world, Mr. Garibaldi. But is the ex-security chief willing to betray Sheridan to bring about that change? Franklin learns why Sheridan wants to revive the cryo-sleeping telepaths. That's it. That's the whole description. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be fun. It's always fun when we go over there, so please check it out. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before we head off and get ready to do our first episode of the season.
I don't have anything more.
Let's get your mom on.
Yes.
We'll have my
Let's
mom
bring
on
back
as a
Mom.
guest
Your
again.
mom on this season.
All right, that sounds good. Hey, Mom, I know you're watching this, so she's. In fact, my mom's always the first person to watch, like, and subscribe on things. So, thanks, Mom. We love you for that, and we'll have you on this season. With that, we're off, and we're leaving as well.